Yeah, so it's on. So I guess I'll adjust to the camera. Like for the demo today, I have a box from a customer, somebody that bought bees from me this spring. I managed them, and what was it, April?
Yeah.
So it was last year.
Yes.
So it was last year. Put it into the flow hive, and then this spring in April, they weren't flying on a sunny day, and you know, what's the problem? You know, my first question there was, well, how'd you manage your varroa mites? And the answer was, I didn't. For the sake of a philosophy of being natural or chemical free and being away from chemicals, which is something that happens often and is spoken about, and but it's varroa, and I'm saying this to you again.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
like not to beat you up,
No,
but like
sure.
so
Please,
often
I love learning.
it like
From there.
bees have died because an attempt to manage them organically or whatever it is, and it doesn't happen the way that we'd like. I just ripped that off, and that was probably a queen cell. So as they were failing, probably in November of that year, they probably replaced the queen, and these bees were probably dead going into the winter, or at least doomed for sure. But there are ways to manage them without chemical. Chemical being like the man-made stuff. I would love to know what happens to bees if you use oxalic acid vapor once a week, 50 weeks in a row. You know, I can't do that. I don't got the time to go out to my bees once a week. But if they're in your backyard, I would love to know what happens there. And that's an organic acid, and that might fit the philosophy. And boy, I would love to know, you know. So that was a queen cell that I kind of just ripped off, and so that was one indicator that you had some kind of a queen event, and that queen event was mites, varroa. Then we have bees with their heads in, their butts sticking out of the cells, starved, and there's no honey in this box. Was there a box of honey on top?
There was so little.
Very little.
So,
Very little.
Bees need 60 pounds of honey going into the winter, and even if there was honey all the way over here, being a small cluster, one of the things is the varroa reduces the lifespan of the individual bee by 20 to 80%. So you can go into winter with a large cluster, and that 20 to 80% is slowly fizzle out. So now they're only in this one area. You get a cold snap, and it's a mouse in the snowstorm as opposed to an elephant. And the elephant has more surface to mass ratio, and they're able to get to it. Because if one bee has access to honey, they'll spread that out. And they probably all starved at the same time, because they'll do that. They'll share the calories amongst themselves until they don't have any. And so it looks like, so plenty pollen, that's basically always the case. And this cluster runs here, was here, and died sometime in the wintertime. And so what to do with this equipment? This equipment is great. I read back in the Power Moth. I'm not saying that correctly, but it's in the catalogs. If somebody asks me in the video, I'll link something in the comments. And I put 2 or 3 tablespoons of that inside an envelope, put that envelope right on top, and then put the whole thing into a garbage bag, roll the garbage bag up, and one piece of duct tape. So it's nice and sealed. In the springtime, those wax moths are down south or in hibernation, and then you just take them out, put it into a shed like that. So mice don't really take to it. I have some equipment that like are on its side for that reason. Because if you store it like this, stuff can get into it. If it rains, those cells are tilted at a 5-degree angle, so it'll actually collect water, and you just don't want that because this is good stuff. Besides that one, really. You know, that might be a headache later. They'll build that comb out, but they might just go sideways, and so I guess something to watch out for that. What else did I say about this?
The importance
these
of mice.
boxes.
Treating for mice.
These boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this box, when you get a nuke next year, you put into the bottom and put 5 frames, three on one side, 3 on the other, and then give them the top box right away. So in your second year, you're comb rich, and so then that's a really big deal. And I always recommend people starting out with 2. And did you only have the 1?
Only 1.
And is this all your comb?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll split the 2. You split the comb between the 2, and you're comb rich.
Okay.
And that's a major thing. That's good. One of my mentors, his first year in keeping bees, he lost both of his hives. But in his second year, his mentor like encouraged him, like, don't quit. Like that happens. Like you had two hives that died. Yeah, it's 100% loss. It was only 2, and he had 20 frames of comb to give his bees. So he had 40 frames of comb. He actually did 4 hives the next year, and then just being comb rich is a really important thing. A couple years ago, I bought comb from another beekeeper that was kind of reorganizing his equipment, and so I bought the unorganized stuff, and that was a major asset that I picked up. This being a flow hive, the assumption is made that you don't have to go in to the brood nest, and you can just turn the tap, go out into the bush and turn the tap. Australia just got varroa mites like last year, and so going into the hive wasn't necessary, at least I'm going to assume, the way that it is here in North America. And so we need to look at our bees often. I say once a month to new beekeepers. It's about where I look. We're doing an alcohol wash and taking a look, and my alcohol washer broke, so I need to do another one, but I'll make a video of that really next time I go up to pick up equipment. Yeah, that's that. These demos are what I'm calling the 1823 project. There was a guy in New York City that was sick of the hustle and bustle of New York City and wanted to move out west. Yeah, the self-service is open. And he wanted to move out west, which was probably New Jersey at the time. Crazy side of that story, he was killed on his way out. But can somebody do that today? I think so. I do think that somebody from Bergen County, as I was, can move to Sussex County and sell enough honey to be somebody that lives in New Jersey. So I buy all my wax in. Somebody with 200 hives, it's a minuscule amount of beeswax, and so I buy it by the ton. Well, I wish I was buying it by the ton. I buy it as much as candles that I'm selling. My blueberries from South Jersey from a beekeeper down there. Beekeeper moves his bees into a blueberry orchard, 836 acres of blueberries. That means that in the center, that's 3 miles radius. So the bees are only exposed to blueberries, and so they're foraging on blueberry nectar only. It's interesting is that as the year goes on, the honey gets darker. And so this is last year's harvest. So this is a year old. And this is what I poured yesterday.
Wow.
And you can just see that it's way darker. These are at my self-service. The last year's is 2 for $20. This is the $15. Little wildflower is 10, and that's my honey. I do foresee myself buying in some wildflower. Still local honey, still honey that is produced in a region similar to Sussex County, so the product is still the same. But the reality of it is, I think I need to have about 1,000 hives in order to be making enough honey, in order to be making enough money, in order to be living in New Jersey. And so with only 200, like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
And so I'd like to sell the honey first, because at the end of this year, the end of this lease agreement that I have here, I'm gonna buy a piece of property. Hopefully it's in New Jersey. Comb honey is from the south, so that's I believe Florida. I'm buying that from somebody that's producing that here in New Jersey.
How much is that?
Those are 25.
25 each?
Yes, sir.
What about the little one?
Those little ones, those are 15.
15? Yeah? Yeah. You pay here?
Yeah, I can pay you. Do I have change?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Have a good day, guys.
Take care, guys.
Comb is difficult to produce. It can be done. I just would have to charge you $50 for this little square if I was to do it. They do it better there, and so I have those for sale, and that's the spiel.
That's amazing.
You know, the millennial dream of smashing your phone, selling everything, and buying a piece of land is really what I am trying to do. Starting to keep meat rabbits to supplement my protein. I bought a crossbow. I'd like to harvest a deer, or maybe a bear, just to mix that into my diet.
For sure.
I love that.
And you know, once I have a little bit more of an understanding as to where I'm going to go, there's a bunch of poplar behind me on this property. I'd love to. Could I build a house? I don't know. What does that take?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if somebody watching this thinks I'm crazy, like, talk a little shit. Let's go. Like, challenge me, dude. Or like, if you're somebody that has built a house, like, how?
Yeah. God, yeah.
You know, like, there was this guy, Richard something, and he just moved to Alaska, and he got dropped in by plane and built a cabin, or harvested trees, let them dry for a season, and then the next season he built the cabin, and he lived there for like 20 years into his late 80s.
Wow, that's cool. And lived off the land.
And lived off with minimal, you know, resources dropped off to him, surviving, paying that off with some of the. He was like the first influencer. He took photos and he took video of him doing it, and so that's what I'm trying to do again.
Love it.
So
Awesome.
that's really the demo for me today. I think that's really what it is.
So much,
for sure.
If it was a beautiful sunny day, I would go into the hive, but I'd say for you guys, I'm taking orders in November for nukes. I always recommend 2 so that you can compare.
Okay.
Then they'll show up in April, and these demos on these Fridays and Saturdays are for you. And so there'll be one demo that's exclusively for you, that are like rain or shine. When this bee yard is full of nukes, I want to demonstrate on how to transfer them over.
Okay.
And then you can, that evening, take them home. And as you have questions, bring them here for these demos. You have an awesome piece of technology in your phone, or in your pocket, your
Yeah.
phone. So photos, videos. If you're working, if you're the hands in the hives this time, just have your phone in your back pocket. So
Right.
then when you see something, you can take a quick snap of it.
Snap
You
it,
know,
yeah.
and like I do that often. I send stuff to my mentors when I don't know what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Last year I had a hive that was completely void of pollen. It was like they just didn't forage pollen at all. 20 hives in the apiary. One hive just was a little lower, like wasn't doing as well, so I dug a little deeper. It wasn't European foul brood because the larvae were white and good looking, but they were dry in some cases.
Okay.
There was some royal jelly, but they were not swimming in nectar the way that royal jelly the way that you would want.
Yeah.
And there was no pollen in the hive the way
Wow.
that this here. That's pollen. That's what we want. And I think I just saw a mite.
What is it?
Yeah, I could have just been seeing things. 'Cause it would have been on this one. That'd be a little interesting experiment.
Yeah, right?
Take Q-tips, tweezers, and pull these out, and take a look.
And actually see if you could find the mites themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that gonna do for you? But nothing.
Just to learn about it.
And just I usually have tweezers on my belt, but they I keep losing them. So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
yeah,
so much.
that's that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Can
you.
we set this?
Yeah.
That was great.